Just a heads up, we are going to have to change a few things in this drawing. So please keep that in mind when finishing this project. For instance, we have a lot more rock in our drawing that we need to add before continuing forward. So quick add that. And then when you're done adding that using a series of bumps, then feel free to play this video again to move forward. Next, we are going to need to add the section where you have this really large arch. But first we need to add a really skinny pull. You might find it easier to do if you're using a ruler. Right now I'm not using a ruler and I'm noticing that my pole is coming off at a slant. So if you need to use a ruler or a straight edge, please feel free to do so. Your brain is going to want to try to squish all the information inside the side of your paper here. Don't fight that urge. You might have to cut off some of this image here if you don't have enough room, and that is okay. That is okay. So give your brain a reminder that not all the information needs to be squeezed in all at once, and do your best. When you are done establishing your pulls, make sure that you are adding that curved line, and don't forget to add 2 layers of curved line to kind of indicate that lighter border. Now, if you look really closely here, there's almost like a little railing, a little rectangular railing at the top here, where the tops of your posts are attached to the bridge itself. So let's add that in using a sketchy line and add the railing on the top too for the top of your bridge's posts. Now that we have established that there is a top and a bottom kind of indicator for the railing, we're going to go all the way to that back post, and we're going to draw a horizontal line from our original curve. We're going to make a really tiny horizontal line to indicate where the bottom of the bridge kind of meets the post. And then we're going to create a soft arch that goes along the opposite end of that line you've made. And we're going to indicate the top of our bridge by adding a really soft curved rainbow line towards the middle of our bridge's body. This is going to help establish your shadowy bottom from your bright red top, because the shadowy bottom is away from the sun. It's going to be a little bit darker, and your bright red top is nothing's blocking the sun from hitting that portion of your bridge, so it's going to be nice and light. So keep that in mind when you are mapping out this kind of rainbow curve for the color separation in your bridge's structure. Now, if you look closely at a bridge from far away, the detailed parts get more crisper and clearer the closer they are to the photographer or the viewer. So let's start from our second post, the larger one, closest to the arch. Let's start adding another kind of very soft rainbow line to indicate the top of your railing. Because what's going to happen here between these 2 horizontal strokes, you're going to have kind of like a pattern that indicates that there is like a crisscrossing iron or what have you to prevent the cars from falling off the side of your bridge. So you kind of want that railing in there. Most bridges have that, especially if they're going over a large body of water. Now that we have most of our structure in place here for our viewer to see, it is now time to shade our areas. We want to make sure that we add 1 layer of shade and then smudge it with our cloth so it's a nice, soft, smooth section. And once we're done smudging it with our cloth, we can then use our eraser to create a negative line to insert that rectangular shape at the top of our curve. You see how it's like a rectangular shape, then 2 triangular shapes, and then two rainbow lines, that's kind of what we're aiming here for. So make sure that you do the smudge before you do the negative erasing technique. This will make sure that your shade or your shadow is evenly distributed throughout the shape of your archway. Now it's hard to see in here because I don't have the picture next to me, and currently with my camera it doesn't allow me to have a huge digital picture next to me and make the art at the same time. So I have to keep the picture in the camera's viewpoint or angle when doing the demonstration outside of class. However, if you look closely, and I will be providing a tool or a picture for you to look at as a reference, but if you look closely at this area, there are vertical bars that go up from the archway to the bottom of your rectangular piece here. So feel free to use your eraser and use the tip of it. I find that a nice pointy eraser works best for this part of the exercise, and kind of clock in or block in your vertical lines here, and then crispen up your shadow by adding a really soft layer of shade in between each white line. This will really make your bars pop, and it will make it look like it's purposefully, you know, part of your bridge's structure. So this might take a minute, so pause this video if you need to before moving forward. We're going to do something similar in this top bar piece in the rectangular shape that's between the top and the bottom of your bridge. This is the railing that guards the cars from going off the edge of the bridge itself. So we're actually going to do diagonal lines. It's going to look almost kind of like little X's, and those X's are crossbars. They help prevent people from slipping through or cars from driving through. You're going to erase the lighter part of your bars that create the X and add a little bit of shade to the triangular parts to help those bars pop. There's also a series of bars or fancy work that go on the underside of this archway. So after adding your little X's on the top of your rainbow lines, we're going to add some large stretched out X's as support beams underneath the archway. So that's why we're doing that, and take a peek at your picture for more reference if you need more detail. We're then going to add kind of like this triangular crisscross fashion that we did on the rectangular piece above our archway. We're going to do it also in the middle of our two rainbow lines, because we need to protect those cars from falling off the edge here. Because the bottom of your bridge is facing away from you and it's super flat, we're going to do a side diagonal hatch underneath your bridge to ensure that there's a shadowy part where the sun isn't hitting the metal straight on. Go ahead and start adding those top kind of ropes that kind of droop down and almost touch the top of the railing itself before raising back up again. Go ahead and add those. Now you're going to do vertical lines on these pieces to indicate those balancing kind of wires that keep the bridge up out of the water. They're called suspension cables. You're going to add your suspension cables using vertical lines coming down from these drooping ropes. Now, your lines are going to be a lot lighter and closer together when you're starting from that back post. And as you get closer to the big post and the actual photographer, the lines are going to get crisper, more easily seen, and a little further away. This is because you are dealing with atmospheric perspective. And when things are further away, they get smaller and less detailed because of all the dust and particles in the air. California has a lot of air pollution. So this is going to play a trick on your eye as if the suspension cables are disappearing as they go into the background. Make that illusion possible by adjusting your pressure with your pencil. Go light in the back and increase your pressure as you come forward. Now it's time to add one layer of shade to your rocks, one layer of shade to your water, and maybe even a layer of shade to your sand if you choose to do so. Use a side diagonal line hatch for your rocks and use a straight horizontal line for your water. This is to help separate the rocks from the water itself. When you are done doing that, you're going to smudge your shadow. You might have to keep adding layers to your rocks to help stand them out. So let's do at least 2 medium pressure sets of lines for your stones in the water and 2 medium pressure lines for your rocks way in the background where your bridge connects to land. This will help separate them from the water, give them a sense of kind of physical appearance, and it will also help separate the light side of the rocks where the sun is hitting from the dark side of the rocks. When you are done adding all of your shade, you're going to take your eraser and very lightly remove some of that shade on the sunny part of your rocks. Feel free to use the picture as a guide while working outside of class. Once you're comfortable with the amount of shade layers, feel free to do a little bit of smudging to help even out that space, and a little bit of erasing to help clean up lines that are supposed to be crisper and lighter in your picture. For the rocks, I have decided to do a decent writing pressure. I felt like that soft, light pressure wasn't enough. So I'm going through and I'm adding one more additional layer to my rocks. And I'm even on the bigger rocks closer to the camera, leaving the lighter layer exposed to kind of emulate sunshine. Here I am using the negative drawing technique to kind of add the sunlight or the sunbeams on the left-hand side of my rock. You might have to go through and redefine your shade if necessary, but it's important that you use your negative drawing effect here to create a 3-dimensional space. Now, if you want some more detail within your rocky landscape, you can feel free to add an additional layer of side diagonal hatch where you have those darker shadows, but that is purely optional. You don't have to if you don't want to. Next, we are going to start adding the finishing touches, like the crossbars or the support beams underneath our bridge in between our 2 suspension cable pillars. Okay, feel free to use regular writing pressure for this. And then we are also going to start shading our pillars or our support beams by using a nice light fine layer of shade. And if we really want it to kind of stick out, we're going to end up adding a an additional layer of shade on the area that's not touched by the sunlight. This is going to help give you that 3-dimensional feel that we're looking for. This might take some time. If you need to pause the video, feel free to do so. But remember to add that additional shade on the side to help make those beams pop.